Hi, I'm Beverly Harzog, host of Your Personal Economy. You can't control inflation or even the price of groceries, but you can control your own personal economy. And I'm going to show you just how to do that because the way you spend your money is the way you spend your life. And I want you to have the best life possible. Welcome to episode number 9, The Truth About the Economy. Have you noticed that sometimes you'll read a headline, about the economy, either about inflation, prices, jobs, something that indicates how well the US is doing? Sometimes that doesn't match your own personal experience. You might read something that says the economy's doing great. We're all doing great. Or you might see something the opposite that says, oh, the economy sucks. Everybody's unhappy. Well, your own personal economy might be doing well, it might not be doing well. But the thing is, what you're seeing right now are what we call in the media narratives, okay? It's an election year, so you're not going to get the truth about the economy. I'm just going to be blunt, all right? So, what I'm going to do is make it very clear and transparent for you so that you can make up your own mind. And if you're seeing a headline that says, oh, things are fabulous, but you're personally having trouble making ends meet, then this episode is for you. Okay, so stay tuned. We're going to cover different narratives and I'm going to bust them for you so that you know the truth about what's happening. Because when you know the truth, then you can make the best decisions for you. So let's get started. We're going to talk about jobs, inflation, and prices. And I'm going to pull back the curtains. You can see exactly what is going on in the US right now. Stay tuned. There are a number of ways that a narrative can take shape about the economy. And if you want to make the economy look good, sometimes they'll use the jobs report. And this is a report that comes out the first Friday in each month. And the most recent one was from March 2024, just last month. And the jobs number was 303,000, which they say came in, oh, higher than expected. Okay, this indicates new jobs that were added that month. The problem is that many of those were part time jobs when people are actually looking for full time jobs. The unemployment number also accompanies this information, and for March it was 3.8%. So that's considered fairly good. But what it doesn't break down into to give us a bigger picture is how many people have more than one job. Is unemployment low because there were more people with more jobs? So you see what I mean? You have to kind of really think this through. So if you see a headline that the economy is super healthy because we added so many jobs last month, for you, that may not be the truth. Okay, your economy may not be doing great. And during times like this, I find that those who have high incomes tend to feel the difference is the least amount. All right. So if you've got a high income, that might ring true for you. Okay. But if you are struggling to make ends meet, a high jobs report with a headline, the economy's great, might just make you mad, and I really don't blame you. All right, because you're not seeing things. Your reality is real for you, and so when you see a headline like that, just take it in stride and realize this is just one way to try to promote the idea that the economy is great, even though it isn't for everybody. All right, we have conquered jobs. So now let's talk about inflation and prices so you know exactly what's going on in the economy. Now, the Consumer Price Index, known as the CPI, measures the rate of change in prices across the US economy. And it covers everything from how much you're paying for that apple to how much you're paying for gas and like how much I paid for Eagles tickets a few months ago. So it covers just about everything. So when you're reporting on inflation, you can sort of cherry pick different kind of categories to pull out to make a case that the economy looks great or it doesn't look good at all. So just be aware of that. Okay. So for March 2024, the CPA over all items, okay, was 3.5%. Now, a little perspective, okay, that went up a little bit over February, which was 3.2%. So inflation did go up a tad. So we have not conquered inflation. There is some good news underlying some of those numbers, though. Okay. I mean, gas still went up. It went up a little bit, but it's not going up as fast as it was. Now, 2 years ago in March 2022, inflation, the CPI was 9.1%, right? Think back, that was during the pandemic. A lot of things were locked down. Supply chain issues made prices go up. Now, what we're seeing now in terms of prices and why sometimes, even if the inflation rate maybe goes down from month to month, what you're seeing sometimes is that the prices are not going down. It's cumulative. So when we had price increases at 9.1% 2 years ago, well, we didn't lose that. All right. It's still baked in to the numbers we're seeing now. And unfortunately, over the past several years, wages have not kept up at all with inflation. Now, just last month, we saw a tiny tick up with wages increasing. So that might be some good news on the horizon. But the reason I'm telling you all this is because I don't want you to think that you're doing something wrong if you read a headline that says the economy's great and I don't know what you're complaining about. Okay, it's not you. It's just some narratives working their way out during a political year. So keep that in mind and just do the best you can. And really, that's all you can do. And when I do look at the economy, I'm not all doom and gloom. I do think that, we're going to turn a corner. Now, the other thing is that you've heard about the Fed raising rates. It's been going a lot over the last 2 years. Now, they've talked about cutting rates, but with this new report on the CPI, the new rate of inflation, we're probably not going to see rate cuts during the first half of this year. And frankly, I called this last fall. A reporter for a media outlet asked me if I could predict when rate cuts would happen. And I don't really like doing that because it's just unpredictable. Okay. And I don't predict things like that just to get eyeballs on my content. I really have to think about it. Everyone else at the time was saying, we're going to have 6 rate cuts this year. And I thought, just don't agree with that. And I said, I think we're going to have some cuts, but it's going to be the second half of the year. And I think that is where we're going with this. Now, why is that important? Well, if you have credit card debt, you're paying a very high interest rate. It's called the APR on your credit card. And it can be in the 20s now. I mean, the average is around 25%. So if the Fed cuts the rate, credit card interest rates are tied to the prime rate. So when the Fed cuts the rate, it directly impacts credit card rates and they will go down by that same amount. Likewise, when the Fed raises rates, credit card rates go up. And that's one reason they're so high right now. So as the Fed tries to control inflation, they mess with the interest rate. And sometimes there are some unintended consequences when it comes to their policy decisions. So we might see some rate cuts later this year in a couple of months, hopefully in the second half. And that will help those of you who are paying off credit card debt. But in the meantime, work on that debt, get it down as far as you can. It's an expensive time to have debt right now. And just kind of hang in there. And I think things are going to be getting better in the second half of this year. Thanks so much for joining me for episode number 9, The Truth About the Economy. It's an election year. And so you're going to see headlines in the news that maybe don't make sense to you. Okay. Maybe it doesn't reflect your own personal experience. If you have a high income and you live in a pretty low cost of living area, you might be doing great. And that's wonderful. But for many Americans, they're just not doing well in this economy due to inflation and the cumulative effect of price increases. So if you see a headline that seems out of sorts and or even offensive to you, it's not you, it's them. Okay. So you just keep doing what you're doing. Now you know how to read the economy better and you can make decisions that are best for you and your family. Coming up next, I have a special guest, Trey Bodge. She's a spending expert, and we are going to talk about how to save money on everyday expenses, as well as shopping online, how to compare prices without driving yourself nuts. We're going to have a great time talking to her, and we're going to uncover a lot of smart spending secrets. So stay tuned, and I'll see you in episode 10. And if you have a chance, be sure you subscribe on YouTube or on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Thanks for joining me.